The cries of two newborns pierced the humid July air. One was delivered into satin sheets, her skin pale as fresh cream, her eyes blue like a southern sky. The other, into the trembling hands of a midwife in a wooden shack behind the cotton fields. His skin dark as fertile soil, eyes wide and curious. Their names were Eleanor Whitmore, daughter of Jonathan Whitmore, one of the wealthiest plantation owners in South Carolina, and Malachi, the son of Alma, a slave woman barely given time to rest from the fields before her labor began. Though born mere hours apart, the world had already carved a canyon between them. But fate, as it often does, has a cruel sense of irony. By age 10, Eleanor's brilliance had become undeniable. Tutors marveled at her memory and hunger for literature. She read Austen by candlelight, questioned politics over breakfast, and dreamed not of gowns, but of philosophy and poetry. Malachi too had brilliance, but no candle, no books, no teacher. Only a battered Bible stolen from the trash, and an ear pressed to the walls of the Whitmore library when the tutor spoke. Every spare moment he studied alone. He taught himself to read, write, solve arithmetic. His mind absorbed knowledge like parched earth takes rain. One afternoon, Eleanor caught him hiding behind a crate near the library door. She didn't scream. She didn't run. Instead, she handed him a book. "If you want to learn," she said, "next time knock." That was the beginning. They met in secret, a neglected garden behind the estate, where roses grew wild and vines climbed like dreams. She brought him books, he brought her questions. Conversations turned into debates, debates into laughter, laughter into glances. She called him brighter than any boy I know. He called her light in a world made of iron. He spoke with fire about freedom, about justice, about music and stars and the weight of chains. She listened with a heart that no longer recognized color as boundary. By 17, Eleanor was betrothed to Nathaniel Sharp, a wealthy banker's son. Her father's doing. Her future was set. But her heart had other ideas. So did his. Selah, a slave girl 2 years younger than Malachi, watched him from afar. She loved his strength, his eyes, the way he defied the world with silence and intelligence. She brought him food when he was beaten, water when he was sick. She memorized his favorite poems even if she couldn't read them. But he never looked at her the way he looked at Eleanor. And Selah saw it all. The books exchanged, the garden laughter, the stolen touches. And deep inside, her devotion curdled into jealousy. One night, Eleanor slipped away from a dull dinner party, barefoot and wild, dress gathered in her hands as she ran to the garden. Malachi was already there, moonlight dancing on his skin. "I can't pretend anymore," she whispered. He didn't ask what she meant. He knew. He felt it too, like fire under skin. Their lips met, slow, forbidden, hungry. Her hands gripped his shoulders, his fingers tangled in her curls. His body, trained by labor and pain, trembled under her touch. "They'll kill us," he breathed. "Then let them," she replied. Their kiss turned into something deeper, as the moon bore witness to a love history had outlawed. After that kiss, they could no longer pretend. Their meetings grew more frequent. In the garden, in the empty library, in the hayloft above the stable when the night was thick enough to swallow sound. Their bodies spoke what their mouths dared not say. Each time they touched, it was as if they were defying the very laws that governed their world. But eyes were watching. Selah's heart burned with 1,000 betrayals. She had loved Malachi before Eleanor ever noticed him. And now the master's daughter, born with pearls in her crib, had stolen even this. And so, on a rain-soaked afternoon, she whispered to Mrs. Whitmore that she had seen Malachi sneaking toward Eleanor's room. It was a lie, but she believed she was saving him, from a girl who could never truly love him, from a world that would tear him apart if it knew. That night, thunder cracked as Malachi was dragged from the quarters by 3 overseers. They beat him until his shirt clung to his skin like bloodied parchment. His hands were bound, his lip torn, his eyes swollen shut. Mr. Whitmore stood in the foyer, his face red with fury. "You dared touch my daughter." Malachi didn't answer. Eleanor appeared at the top of the stairs, trembling, her nightgown soaked from running in the rain. "He didn't do it," she cried. "He's done nothing wrong." But no one listened. Malachi was locked in the old root cellar, chained to a post like a beast. A public whipping was scheduled for Sunday, and Eleanor was forbidden from ever leaving the house again. The night before the punishment, Selah came to the cellar. She found him shivering, bloodied, silent. "I only wanted to protect you," she whispered. "She doesn't belong to you." Malachi didn't look at her. "You told them," he said quietly. Selah's lips trembled. "I didn't know they'd hurt you like this." Eleanor appeared behind her, lantern in hand, her cheeks stained with tears. She had overheard everything. "You lied," she said to Selah. "You lied to destroy him." Selah fell to her knees. "I loved him first." Eleanor didn't speak. She turned to Malachi, knelt beside him, and kissed his bruised cheek. The next morning, Selah stood before the entire plantation and confessed the truth. "He never touched her. I lied, 'cause I loved him. And he loved her." The overseers froze. Mr. Whitmore's face went pale. The punishment was called off. But something had changed. The air had shifted. Eleanor marched into her father's study that afternoon. "I will not marry Nathaniel," she said. "And if you try to stop me, I will leave this house and never return." Jonathan Whitmore, stunned by the fire in her eyes, so much like her late mother's, said nothing. Knowing their time was short, Eleanor and Malachi met one last time, in the hidden garden that had birthed their love. It was past midnight. The moon was full, and the scent of magnolias wrapped around them like silk. She wore no corset, no shoes, only a thin cotton dress. He wore the scars of chains and the hunger of every night spent thinking of her. They fell into each other with desperate urgency, not innocence but knowledge. Every kiss carried the weight of danger. Every moan defied the silence they had been forced to live in. She whispered his name like a prayer. He held her like he was afraid she'd vanish with the dawn. "Where will we go?" she asked. "Anywhere," he said, "so long as you're there." Before sunrise, with help from a quiet, guilt-ridden Selah, Eleanor and Malachi slipped away, through the forest, across the creek, and into a world that would never understand them. But they didn't look back. In a northern town, far from the red dirt and cotton fields, a woman read poetry to a small classroom while a man painted a mural behind her, bold strokes of gold and earth. Their child played nearby, skin the color of caramel, eyes bright with wonder. And on the wall above the chalkboard hung a plaque, "Twins of the sun, bound by the soil, but freed by love."